The economy's in shambles. There's no new automotive brands coming out with vehicles that are relatively inexpensive that aren't an EV. And frankly, we don't need electric vehicles. We need a vehicle that can get us from point A to point B. We need to invest in a company that is going to bring back the everyday common man car that is going to be affordable, even with astronomical interest rates. I'm talking about the one and only amazing brand, Saturn. Saturn represented a lot of things great about what the US stood for. It was everybody. It was a car that you weren't discriminated by. You weren't kept out of in a class, that anybody of any stature could enjoy and felt like they were the king or queen of the world. And to be honest, that's a great feeling to have when you're buying a new vehicle. That dealership experience of being treated as family in a positive light, not a negative one. Not one that takes advantage of you, but one that gives you the things that you need and love. It's not what you want, but it definitely helps out when you need it most. And we need Saturn more than ever as a country. There are no new vehicles on the market that are inexpensive enough for the everyday man. A car that's anywhere close to $15,000 is just either not of the highest quality or not obtainable because everything starts with a 2+. But there's no cars out there that really hit that mark unless you're going for a used market. And most people don't want to do the work that it takes to have a $10,000, $15,000 used car, because nowadays those are cars with over 100,000 miles that are constantly going to need work. And to be honest, nobody has that kind of money in cash. This is going to be a financed vehicle, which means you're going to have to finance it and still fix the car when you need it. Saturn had an inexpensive car when it came out. These are cars that are affordable to literally anybody. Your grandmother could afford it to just have a car to come visit the grandkids on the weekend. It was a great car for somebody to learn in that, was easy to learn how to drive in, was economical, was inexpensive on gas, even in a situation where gas was very expensive. Manufacturers don't seem to understand by developing a car that's actually and then on top of it, selling it at an exuberant price, even with a warranty. There's nothing more frustrating than buying a $40,000, $50,000 car that you can barely afford as it is, and then immediately go, you know what, we're just gonna break, and then be a constant issue the entire time you have it. We don't have a brand that is good quality and is under $20,000, and Saturn can be that. GM has a ton of cars that it has killed off within the last 5 years that could easily be used to bring back and put in the Saturn limelight. I mean, think about it. You can bring back the Chevy Cruze and the Chevy Spark and put them under Saturn naming and immediately have vehicles that you can use that can be just for people to get from point A to point B. I mean, look, I have a basic 10 to 15 year plan that could easily make GM a ton of money, create even more jobs than there already are for GM, improving the economy, giving people more work to do, and on top of that, more opportunities in a market that seemingly is disappearing that GM could single-handedly bring back. You bring back the Chevy Cruze and you bring back the Chevy Spark. You spend the next year developing those vehicles or just making them. You keep them the same as you left them. Build them for a year, ship them out 2027. Right? Then from 2027, when you release those vehicles to 2030, you build those vehicles, you sell them, and you take the money that you have left after giving everyone their bonuses for doing such a great job. You take that money and develop a updated version of the Saturn Coupe and the Saturn Sedan, the SC and the SL line. So we have those vehicles being developed probably starting in 2030. Bring them out in the 2032 line. So 7 years in, we have 2 brand new models. Get rid of the Cruze, keep the Spark, and then bring in the Chevy Traverse, if not already brought that in, as the entry-level crossover SUV for people if they truly want it. So now you have a sedan, a coupe, a hatch, and a mini SUV, all with basic amenities of power locks, power windows, a radio, and comfortable seats. Gets from point A to point B, minimal cost, and in a price range that people can genuinely afford. After that, you just, every 5 years, you do a facelift on the vehicles, and every 10 years of a model line, you do a whole model refresh. I don't see why GM shouldn't do this and why they shouldn't bring back Saturn. And you know what, GM, if you happen to watch this video or anyone in charge of anything in GM, Cadillac, Chevy, you name it, here's my offer to you. You put me in charge of this program. I will take care of hiring everybody that's going to help me develop this company to where it needs to be. I will also handle all of the marketing. All business decisions and all marketing decisions will be made by me while we're developing these Saturns and bringing them back to an amazing world that needs them. I will build up the hype, market them in a guerrilla tactics way that keeps marketing costs down, and at the same time, doesn't disparage the GM nomenclature that you so thought Saturn was doing when it was around. And on top of that, by the time we have cars coming out, people have already put in a ton of pre-orders to get these vehicles, and it won't be a Tesla situation because you know why? Because it'll come out when it says we're going to bring it out. And on top of this, people are going to be so excited about these cars that they're going to buy a ton of them. You're going to sell so many of them. You're going to sell millions of cars within the first few years. And then you're just going to have a company that just prints money. Are we going to have to develop some things in the middle of it? Probably. Maybe we'll make another plant. Maybe we'll go out of our way to build another plant in Georgia, and we'll have people that of all different backgrounds help take care and build this facility. And then we're going to create a huge economic boom for not only the town that we're in, but also the state. And then that state is going to have more money, and the people are going to have more money, and then they're going to have lifetime jobs. As long as they're able to afford the life that they want to actually live and feel like they can move up in a company, we do that. There is a lot of opportunity here, and the fact that it's not been made yet is actually impressive. And maybe there's something that I'm not seeing here as a whole. Let's be honest. I'm 26. I am naive to the world and how business is. I've learned that through running my own marketing company, Hyper.activity. Buy your merch at the link down below. If you want help with your marketing, link is also down below. There's something about blind optimism that has made the world go round for a long time. There's nothing that said America could have started in the way that it did. There are many decisions that were made that were good, bad, ugly, in any aspect of the world, and that any one of those decisions, made or not made, has changed the world in its entirety, and a lot of it was due to blind optimism. Let's call it what it is. So if we can be blindly optimistic about coming to North America, building out the United States of America over the last 200 plus years, then I think we can be blindly optimistic about a Saturn company coming back and bring back the cars that the economy actually needs, not what the economy wants. And while I have a personal vendetta against GM and how they ended Saturn and why they didn't keep it around, I understand why they did. They had to make money somehow. And Saturn was costing them a lot. And frankly, for being the same thing as Chevy. I mean, that was at a time where Chevy was the economical brand and other brands of GM hit different points. When you had such a low, when Chevy was the entry level everyman brand, it made sense to get rid of Saturn because Saturn was cannibalizing the sales that could have easily gone to Chevy. But that's not the thing anymore. Chevy is not for the everyday man. Chevy is for the upper middle class man. And a lot of people fail to recognize that in this day and age. People think buying a truck for $60,000 is inexpensive and that it coming with locks and a radio makes a ton of sense. No, it doesn't. The trucks are bigger than ever before. They have the same fuel economy they did before. And while they claim to be more economical, it's just not true. Brands are having to compete with lawmakers to make vehicles that are going to sell in the best way possible. And unfortunately, we are put at the cost because we had no control over these laws realistically. Things that were put into place that maybe we didn't vote for, or that leaders of the state and of the government took into their own hands and changed without it really representing who we are. There's a lot of things that have changed and manipulated the economy and the market as a whole that we frankly had no control over. I think one way we bring that back and bring that control to people is by starting off with a vehicle anybody can drive, that parts are plentiful and available to others, and of all else, affordable. GM, bring back Saturn. Be the everyday man again. Don't be the upper middle class that a lot of people cannot and may not ever relate to. But what they can relate to is a good old American everyday man. Affordable, reliable, and gets the job done. If you guys did like this video, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. Leave a comment down below what you think. Are there other brands that maybe should come back that could be a cheap alternative for current brands that maybe have rising cost or have, as we like to say, has Icarus too close to the sun with their own wax wings? Once again, thank you guys for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.